One is flogging a dead horse. You see the Ten of Wands and the Three of Swords. I'm starting to get that this is a family dynamic. I'm looking at two different siblings that have two different type of work ethics. All right, we have Two of Cups here. This means one sibling is more intuitive and more emotionally inclined to the way that they create the reality, and the other is very old school, very practical, but they have a tough time sort of delegating between their passions, the relationships, as well as the work. One does like an hour's worth of distance, or maybe work tedious hours, as the other sort of works through this process of inertia, meaning they take the time out to be intentional in delegating between their tasks all in one space. Like they meditate, they set intentions, they go for walks. But whatever it is, one person is traveling and the other is doing everything that they possibly can from their own place of work. So it could be somebody who works from home, it could be someone who's an entrepreneur, etc. And there's a disconnect here. I'm hearing reckless and sweet. One person is reckless, one person has a sweeter process. Okay, Reckless and Sweet by Amare. Call me when the money comes. My money's too long, or there is something about both people are operating in the energy of audacity, which is needed in order to acquire the type of abundance on both ends of the spectrum. But the other person has already endured the chapter of trying to get to the bag or get to this nuance of abundance through being reckless, through being a hard worker. And the spectrum here is not teaching anything about more one or the other, or maybe in a way it is. I think the person who has a more sweeter approach, a more fluid approach to the workspace or towards their lifestyle or their belief system has already been there, done that. You know, when it comes to overworking or overcompensating. Whereas the other person, they're not noticing that things could be much more easier in the way that they facilitate the responsibilities or delegate the responsibilities. So there's this back and forth. There might have been exchange of words of um, who's doing more, who's contributing more, whose work is more purposeful. And I feel like the person who is more spiritually inclined, someone who could literally be like a tarot reader, they could be a Reiki healer, they can offer services as being a life coach or something of that particular nature. Whatever it is, I see the higher fine energy, and it has a lot to do with someone who's very spiritually inclined and understands the whole perspective of objectivity, right? And whereas the other person, it could be that they're a singer. It could be that they're a singer. It could be that they produce part time, you know, and they just don't devote enough time to it. And I think that's exactly the problem. One person is more confident in their energy of audacity, and they're willing to strip away, you know, all of the excess weight that doesn't belong in order to focus all their emotional intention into the relationship that they're building with their purpose. As the other person is trying to fit so many sticks, put so many bundles within one bag in order to appease everybody in the situation. And what they're doing is not appeasing themselves enough. This person has to become more nuanced in the relationship between themselves, learning how to set boundaries with other people, and also learning how to step more into that energy of audacity. Because what it sounds as if they aren't relying on their talents enough to really take them where they want to go, or looking at their gifts and putting them into practical efforts. Because it could be that this person could sell their production online on freelance sites, post their QR codes everywhere, put together events, start pitching themselves out there, the shows, etc. Become more acclimated to vlogging and inviting in people into the personal space on how much depth it really takes in order to create. So I feel as if the sibling has a lot to learn from the other.